Hi guys, today for reading we are going to talk about how you can monitor your own participation during small group as well as whole group reading discussions and how you can encourage others to participate in those same discussions. In order for small group reading to really be beneficial to all of us, we have to make sure that we're each participating, and we need to make sure that we are helping each other join in on the conversation, really listening to each other and having discussions about the books that we're reading and what we're reading. So let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, participation. First of all, what do you think it means to monitor your participation in a book discussion? Okay, well, it means to check how you're taking part in the group. Are you just going, yeah, or are you really talking about the conversation? I agree with that, but I disagree. But one thing I noticed is how well are you participating in the discussion? How much are you bringing to the group? What questions can you ask yourself to monitor your participation? Okay. Two things tend to happen when it comes to participation in small group. Either one, we don't participate quite enough and we just listen to other people talk, or two, we have a tendency to monopolize the conversation. Don't get me wrong, guys. You know, Mrs. K likes to talk herself, so I get it. But we still need to make sure we're giving other people that chance to talk as well. And that can be a hard thing to do. So we need to stop and ask ourselves, not only am I not saying anything, but sometimes we need to stop and ask ourselves, am I giving somebody else a chance to say something too? And for some of us, that's even harder than making sure we're saying enough, is making sure we're not saying too much and overtaking the conversation. Another thing we can do to help small groups and help encourage each other is that encouragement of each other. If you know somebody, we all know some of us are more forthcoming and have a tendency to talk more than others. So how can we encourage those of us that don't have quite as outgoing of a personality as the rest of us? Okay, so think about those kinds of things. How can you pull out from each other? Can you ask each other questions? Can you ask, well, what did you think about this? Here's what I thought, but what did you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Make sure that we're inviting others into our conversation as well. Again, it's important to check our participation and include others in book discussions, because the more people that are involved in the discussion, the better the discussion's going to be, and the more we're going to learn from that same discussion. Take a second and think about any questions that you might ask yourself and language that you might use to monitor your participation during book talks. Really think about these this question here. Okay, obviously you're not going to talk about it, you're at home. But I am going to have you place in the discussion any way that you think you might ask yourself and what language you might use to monitor your participation during book talks. How can you get yourself to talk more? How can you help encourage your friends to talk more during those book clubs? Think about this so that you can answer the same question in our discussion board after this. Finally, a quick summary of what we learned. Couple things you can ask yourself. Am I talking too much? Am I talking too little? Has everyone had a chance to share? Have I encouraged others to add on to my thinking? It's great to share your thinking, but have you encouraged others to add on to that? Invite those others. What do you think? Do you agree? Why or why not? Did anyone else notice that? Does anyone want to add to that? Can you say more about that? Really think about what your classmates are saying so that you can really respond to their questions. Bring out more of their thinking. Don't just think about what your next question is. Really listen to what they have to say so you can participate in their thinking as well. Okay, guys? Awesome job. Again, we're not going to share outright this minute, but in your discussion board, I want you to think about how you might monitor your participation and support the participation of other group members when we all get to come back together to class. Okay? Awesome job, guys. See you soon.